Skinny Hardaway Southern T, back with another EP. And today I'm here with the fight breakdown and prediction between Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? And on this Southern T, I'm gonna be here, for a good time, not necessarily a long time. About 10 to 15 minutes at the most. I'm going to share my screen. I'm gonna share my screen with y'all as well, so I could bring, this fight prediction to life. But can y'all do your boy a favor? When y'all roll on in, can y'all hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't? We'll greatly appreciate it. Now it's Canelo Alvarez fight week. What's good? It's Canelo Alvarez fight week. I did a Southern T yesterday about that. It's not really feeling like a Canelo, Alvarez fight week. Normally, Canelo Alvarez fight we have a bigger feel around it, but nonetheless, it is Canelo Alvarez fight week. He's fighting Demetri Bivol, who is the current champion at the 175-pound division. Who is Demetri Bivol is. I'm bringing up these guys' box recs, so we could get into it. Canelo Alvarez in his last fight was victorious over Caleb Plant. Demetri Bivol fought. I'm not sure of the guy's name that Demetri Bivol fought last, but he was an undefeated fighter, an undefeated power puncher. He was. Let me bring my screen up so I can get this thing going, because I plan on being here for a good time, not a long time. We go get right into it. So we could get right into it. There you go. We got Canelo Alvarez.
Xfinity has supersonic Wi-Fi with speeds faster than a gig. That's unbeatable internet. Only from Xfinity. Learn more about supersonic.
My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. Let me get right. My bad, pimp. Let me get right. My bad. Cassandra, what's good, Cassandra? You got to do this jump, Cassandra. My Canelo Alvarez and Demetri Bivol fight breakdown their prediction. We about to get into it. We about to get into it right now. We got Canelo Alvarez comes in at a record of 57 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws. You'll forget that Canelo Alvarez, has that loss. As much as it's not talked about. Let me put Cassandra comment up there because Cassandra look better than everybody else in the room. Let me put Cassandra up there. Appreciate you, Cassandra, sliding through this joint. No, we'll forget that Canelo even has those 2 losses. I mean, that 1 loss and those 2 draws, as much as people, kind of look over it. But Canelo Alvarez is 57, 1 and 2. 31 years old, stands at 5'8", with a 70-inch arm reach. His most recent wins are over Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant. He's facing off against Demetri Bivol. Demetri Bivol may be a guy that you know a little less about. Demetri Bivol is 19-0. with 11 KOs. Demetri Bivol stands 6 foot even with a 72-inch arm reach. Demetri Bivol, and doing this breakdown too, I realized Demetri Bivol has almost the exact same measurables as I do. 6 foot, 72-inch arm reach. My arm reach is 73 inches, but around the same. So me and Bivol, around the same height and length. He 175, so we around the same weight too. Now he lose weight to get to 175, and I'm naturally like 175, and I lose weight to stay around 160. You know what I mean? Something like that. But same frame. I thought that was kind of cool. Demetri Bivol is what you call a master class boxer. There are different types of master class boxer. Bivol isn't a guy who overly uses his angles like that, but Bivol does use his feet well. You know what I mean? He does use angles some, but he doesn't, use a lot of angles. He's more so of a straight forward, straight back, kind of fighter. But he is agile in his straight forward, in his straight back movement. In his last fight, Bivol faced off against a much, much bigger guy. If I'm not mistaken, the guy Bivol faced off against was 6'7", 6'6", you know what I mean, or something like that. So he faced a much bigger guy, in which I saw Bivol, put on one of those masterclass boxing performances, that I like to talk about. You know what I mean? I think in Bivol's last performance, Bivol thing is people call Bivol boring. A lot of people feel that Bivol is boring, because he doesn't have an overly exciting style. Now he has 19 wins and 11 KOs, so that's about 50% on the KO ratio, a little above 50%. You would think, oh well, Bivol don't have power, and I think his KO percentage, his record, I think that's kind of an illusion, because if you watch his fights, you see Bivol is hitting these guys, with power. Bivol is, putting something on these guys. It's just these guys aren't, necessarily, fouling, but these guys, are stopping in their tracks. He has respectable power, and you got to think he's fighting at light heavyweight. He's fighting against, much bigger guys. You know what I mean? So this Bivol not having power, I think, is a myth. Bivol already faced off against, Joe Smith Jr. In his career. Bivol has faced a couple of names: Craig Richard, Joe Smith Jr., John Pascal, a couple of them, for relevance. So he has been tested. Now, he hasn't had as many fights as his counterpart, Canelo Alvarez. Not nearly as many fights, but he has, been tested. He does possess that style that gives Canelo Alvarez problems. And Canelo Alvarez's last fight against Caleb Plant. Now, the scorecards wouldn't necessarily indicate this, but in Canelo Alvarez's last fight against Caleb Plant gave, Canelo Alvarez, a run for his money while using his boxing skills. He used his jab and his movement, and he made it a difficult day for Canelo Alvarez. I think Demetri Bivol, possesses the skills to do a lot of the same when it comes to Canelo Alvarez. Demetri Bivol, I think, is a bigger version of Caleb Plant, a bigger, stronger version of Caleb Plant. No, he doesn't have the elite movement like Caleb Plant has, but he does have, good movement for a light heavyweight. I still think in this fight, he's going to have better movement than Canelo Alvarez, even though he's being the bigger dude. This fight is going to be a tough fight for Canelo Alvarez. I think Demetri Bivol is going to stick that jab in his face all night. I think Demetri Bivol, does throw just enough shots to the body to where, he could cause problems for Canelo, and especially, with that jab. I'm going to double back on. He has the reach on Canelo Alvarez, and he has a jab. He has an educated jab to give him trouble, and he does, use the ring well. And I think because he's stronger than Caleb Plant, when he's able to land on Canelo Alvarez, he's going to do a little more damage than Caleb Plant did. And I know what Canelo Alvarez was thinking. He was thinking, oh, well, I beat Caleb Plant. This guy's about the same size as Caleb Plant, so I should be able to beat him too. But Demetri Bivol is the bigger, stronger version of Caleb Plant. And I think that's where Canelo Alvarez is going to find himself, in some trouble with Demetri Bivol. Canelo Alvarez likes to, walk his opponents down. He likes to plow forward, move forward, locate his opponents, and land that big shot. With a guy like Demetri Bivol, that with him being, so much bigger than Canelo Alvarez. I know Canelo Alvarez is used to fighting people bigger than him, but this will only be his second fight at light heavyweight. His first fight was against Kovalev. And in that fight against Kovalev was able to use his jab and give Canelo Alvarez problems until Canelo Alvarez was able to stop Kovalev. I think Demetri Bivol has all the skill sets to beat Canelo Alvarez, and I think that he's going to give Canelo Alvarez everything that he can handle. I see a lot of people saying this is going to be an easy fight for Canelo. I don't think that. I don't have a problem with Canelo fighting Demetri Bivol. This isn't the fight that I have a problem with. The thing that I have a problem with is Canelo fighting Triple G. And I say all that to say this. Demetri Bivol, people coming to her thinking Demetri Bivol going to get washed. I'm telling you, Demetri Bivol is going to put hands on Canelo Alvarez. We will see Canelo Alvarez struggle like we haven't seen him struggle in recent time. Now, we seen him struggle against Caleb Plant, but Caleb Plant didn't have the power to visibly make us see the struggle. Demetri Bivol has just enough power to visibly make us see, the struggle with Canelo if Demetri Bivol lands. And I think Demetri Bivol will be able to land on Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? And I said all that to say this. While I think Demetri Bivol will give Canelo Alvarez more than he can handle, more than enough problems, I don't think that he's going to see himself victorious. In this fight, I don't think Canelo Alvarez is going to knock Demetri Bivol out. In this fight, I do think Demetri Bivol is going to box well enough to win this fight. But in the end, I don't think Demetri Bivol is going to win this fight. I think the judges are going to see that Canelo did, just enough to win this fight. You know what I mean? I got this fight going 12 rounds, unanimous decision. I'm going to go 12 rounds, unanimous decision or split decision for Canelo Alvarez. I'm going to say unanimous decision. You know what I mean? Canelo Alvarez. I think it's hard to beat Canelo Alvarez in a 12-round fight. Even if you do good, it's almost kind of like, you got to do a little extra. I seen Caleb Plant, outland Canelo Alvarez for about 11 rounds until, his downfall. And that's when, Canelo Alvarez got off on Caleb Plant. And they had Caleb Plant, Caleb Plant, losing that fight by 5 or 6 rounds. My girl Cassandra said, I see something. Oh, so okay, I'm going to get a KO. My girl Cassandra said she got Canelo by KO. Was good, Alex Alberto G. You know what I mean? When I got Canelo by unanimous decision, in this fight, I see Demetri Bivol, putting up a hell of a fight. I see it being an interesting fight. But I see Canelo Alvarez, getting a decision at the end of the night in a close and an interesting fight. Let me say what's up to the people in the building. Shout out my guy, K Savoy. Appreciate you sliding through this junk, K. Shout out my guy, Drew Stats. What's good, Drew? Glad you could make it. Shout out my guy, the Big Slugger, coming through this junk. Glad you could make it. Shout out my girl, Cassandra. Appreciate you sliding through. My guy, Alex said, what's up, T? Bivol toughness is going to be huge for him. If Canelo can't hurt him, Bivol can fight back. Facts, Alex, I agree. And I don't think Canelo go be able to necessarily hurt him, like that. So that's, so I think this is going to be interesting. I think I got Canelo, by unanimous decision, but I think Bivol going to do enough to win this fight. I just don't think Bivol is going to be rewarded the decision. Now, it might not be a bad whooping by Bivol on Canelo where he just destroy him or nothing like that. But I will think he do enough to win this fight. It's going to be visibly enough for him to win this fight. I think we going to see Canelo head snapping back a lot. Bivol is good with his jab, just like Caleb Plant. But Bivol has a stronger jab than Caleb Plant, you know what I mean? So I think it's going to come into effect. Again, it's hard to beat Canelo, and it's even more hard to beat him on the card. What's good, Phil J508? Appreciate you sliding through this. John, if y'all could do your boy a favor when y'all roll on in, hit that like button for your boy as you enter the door. Greatly appreciate it. I think Bivol possesses all the tools to give Canelo a problem. I just don't think he will be awarded the decision in the end. But I got some more certainties for y'all. I got some more certainty that's dropping for y'all. Make sure y'all tell a friend and tell a friend. Make sure y'all like this video, subscribe. You know what I mean? All that good stuff. Appreciate everybody that came through this junk. Again, I got Canelo Alvarez unanimous decision in a tough fight over Demetri Bivol. Appreciate everybody that came through this junk skin the hard way. This ain't the past. This ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking.